Hi, this is Lisa Dealman of Nova 401k, and I did a webinar on how to securely submit your census data for the year-end census request. And this is a shortened version that only goes over the employee census part of that project. So hopefully this will help you and to complete the employee census step if that's the only assistance you need. The usual NOVA disclaimer: this information in this presentation is general in nature and should not be used for legal or tax advice. Please contact a CPA or a lawyer if you need legal or tax advice. So when you've gotten the email from NOVA stating that we are now needing your year-end census data so that we can do the annual work on the retirement plan, it will give you this link, plansponsorlink.com, and that goes to our web portal where you will complete your portion. And this is what it looks like, and your username is always the email address that NOVA has on file for you. So if you've changed your email, please make sure that your NOVA account manager is aware of it so that we can update our system. So you can use your new email address as your username. If it's your first time logging in, please click on first time user. If you forgot your password, click on that. Only you and Plan Sponsor Link know your password. And when you click either of these items, a temporary password will be sent to your email address from Plan Sponsor Link. And that way you can just click on the link from the email, set up a new password, and be in the system. If at any time you need to change your password because you like to do it every 90 days or whatnot, you can click on the drop-down arrow next to your name and click on Change Password. This is the editing guide within the data collection steps, and they're pretty self-explanatory. And then when each task is reviewed for accuracy and you've completed your review and editing, then click Save, and you will get a green check mark to say that that task is complete. So here, this is what you're going to see when you log into your Plan Sponsor Link. If you log into Plan Sponsor Link and do not see this, then that means you do not have full access rights, and we need to update our system with that once we have approval from a trustee or a primary contact of the plan. So you'll see this year-end data collection for the year, and then you'll just click on Begin Task. There are 9 steps to complete, and every time you complete one, well, 10 steps if you include the final approval. Every time you complete one, a green check mark will show. So that way you can keep track of ones that you have looked at and reviewed and clicked Save. Okay, so every time you click Save on one of the tasks, you'll get your green check mark. This is what it looks like before you've finished. So they've done the company, but not general or the others. And you don't have to do it in order. You can move around between tasks if you want. Okay. Again, similar to what I said on the last slide, if you are in here and you do not see all of these tasks or cannot access all of them, then that means you have not been set up with full access rights to everything within our system, and you would need to contact your NOVA account manager to get that updated. We would need to get approval, but we will update it upon approval. So at the top of each task, you will have the ability to add notes for your account manager. So here is the notes. So every single task will have this notes. And if there's something that you need to give extra information on for your NOVA account manager, please utilize that notes tab. All right, so in a different webinar that's just over an hour long, we go through each and every step on here. This webinar, like I said, is just for the employees section of this, the shortened version. So we're going to get into that. So this little blurb up here tells you exactly how to download and import our census template file. Okay, so they're right here. If this is not the first year that the plan has been with NOVA, then you will see entries from the prior year in here, and so you will see that information of the prior year's employees. And you would still want to export the file and update the file with the current year information, okay? You just don't have to start from scratch. And then here's an add or a delete if you do it outside of the Excel file template. And so we'll show each of that there. And then we did do the long YouTube video on how to complete every step, and we will link that video up here. So when you do log in, you will see that link when you logged in. So there are a couple ways to get census data to NOVA, and one of them is a manual entry within your plan sponsor link. So again, I said you could do an add or delete. That would be if you're doing manual entry. And it is very time consuming. And so we really encourage you to only do it if you just have a few employees that you need to enter. Okay, if your plan is very, very small and you have like 5 or fewer employees. So you would want to click add, and then this pop-up will happen. And you'll want to fill it out for everything that's applicable to your plan. Don't forget to scroll down to the other columns of information, the other fields of information that we might need that are for your plan in particular. And then once you've done one employee, you would hit save, and then you would hit add again to do another. Again, it is very time consuming to do it on here. So we do suggest that if you have more than 5 employees, or even if you have 2, download our census template. It's an Excel file. And again, you do it by clicking the export button on that step. And then it's going to give you these options for which Excel version to use. And it's going to be based on the Windows version that you were using on your computer. Okay, so you would want to export whichever version is on your computer and save it into your company computer directory. And then that's where you will enter the information from your computer. So you've saved the file, and what you want to do is open up that file that you saved on your computer, and you will notice 2 worksheets on the file, the employees worksheet and the instructions worksheet. The instructions worksheet will give you details on what we're requesting within each column of the employees worksheet. Okay. It is very important to not delete either worksheet, do not rename either worksheet, and do not alter the formatting of either worksheet. Okay, the only thing that can be done to ensure that it imports back into the system is to add the employee information onto the employees worksheet. So don't change the headers, don't move columns around, don't delete either of these worksheets when you're done, don't move them around. Just simply open up the employees worksheet and start providing your employee data on there. The employees to include on that census template is every employee that received W-2 wages for the year we're requesting. It also includes any owners who receive partnership K-1 or Schedule C income. And as soon as those draft copies of those files are ready, please forward a copy to NOVA. And we do not need Schedule an S corporation K-1. We only need partnership K-1s. Okay. And it also includes any employees who terminated in the year. So if a terminated participant received any kind of W-2 wages for the year, they are included in the testing, and we do need their information. So even if you had one employee that was hired for 1 day and then they left, they got paid for that 1 day, we need their information. Okay, so whether the employees are not yet eligible to participate, we still need them if they got paid W-2. If they are not actively contributing, we still need them because they got paid W-2. These people are included in some of the coverage testing that we have to do on the plan, so we need the full spectrum of the employee listing. The only ones that would not be included is any employee that is paid 1099. They are not considered an employee for plan purposes, therefore we do not need their information. Now, if you have a 1099 employee that then switches to W-2 mid-year, we only want the W-2 wages. We do not want the 1099 wages, or vice versa. They were W-2, now they're 1099. We only want the W-2 wages. And we do realize that if you have an owner that receives partnership K-1 or Schedule C, you might not know their income information to put the compensation on the census. That is fine. We still need them listed on the census with their social, their date of hire, date of birth. If they funded any contribution during the year, we need that. And then for the compensation, you can literally just put a 1 for $1, and we will know that we still are waiting for that information from you. Okay. If there was an active employee who is still active in your payroll system, meaning they don't have a termination date, but they have no compensation or hours in the year requested, we still want them on the census, but please put a note as to why they had no compensation. For example, they were on medical leave, military leave, they're an as-needed employee and they weren't needed in the year, you know, something, just a short little explanation. There are address columns, emails, and phone numbers of employees that are on the census template file that are available for you to input that data. They are not required, but we really do encourage you to enter that information as it is helpful for our distributions team as just another check to try and catch anyone who might be trying to fraudulently request a distribution or loan from a participant's account. So we will utilize that information if you provide it to us. Rehired employees. This is very important that we need all 3 dates of a rehired employee. Their very first original hire date, like the very, very first. If they've been rehired 5 times, we want their very first original hire date. And then their most recent date of rehire for the year that we're working. So if they separated in 2020 and then were rehired in 2022, we need those 2 dates. Okay, we must have all 3 dates completed for a rehired employee. Plan sponsor link, when you import your census file back in, it will probably give you a warning if a date of separation is prior to the year you're working on. So we're working on 2022. If the date of separation is prior to 2022, it might give you a warning that says there's a date of separation that's before the year. That's fine. Leave the date there. If the date is correct because it matches your own system, leave it there. The system will still accept that date. Okay, it's just a warning to say, hey, did you mean to put this date? Yes, you did. Okay, we do need that date. So you can just ignore that warning as long as that date is correct to match your payroll system. Okay. This slide is going to explain the excluded compensation columns that we have. So there are multiple columns for different types of excluded compensation that we might need depending on your document, okay, for the plan. So if the plan document states that any of the below compensations are excluded, in determining the contributions to the plan, enter those amounts in the designated column. So let's say that your plan document mentions that all commission pay is excluded when you're calculating the employee's contribution and the employer match. Please provide us with that total commission for the year so that we know what that excluded compensation is so that we can make sure that we are completing our testing correctly. Okay. If you aren't quite sure which compensations, if any, are excluded within your plan, then you can look at your adoption agreement number 23 and it'll list them. Okay. And then I give you where to find that file on your plan sponsor link web portal. So you can go and look at that and see which exclusions, if any, are in your plan so you can provide that information. The severance compensation column, true severance. So not just their final paycheck that they got paid after their termination date, but it's for work that they did prior to terminating. But true severance compensation is always excluded from calculating contributions for the 401k plan. It is not allowable compensation for retirement plans. So if you have true severance, please list those amounts within that column. And then they should also be included in the gross compensation column because it was compensation paid listed on the W-2, reported on the W-2, but also listed separately here so that we can exclude it as needed. And speaking of compensation, I don't have a picture here, but there are 3 columns of actual compensation data that we are requesting. One is plan compensation, one is gross compensation, and one is W-2 box 1. W-2 box 1 is self-explanatory. You get that off the W-2 that your CPA or whomever creates. Gross compensation is generally box 5 of your W-2 plus any pre-tax employee contributions to a health, medical, health savings plan, medical insurance premiums plan that your employees can contribute to. Only the pre-tax employee portion. And then plan compensation would be your gross compensation minus any exclusion that is listed in your document. Okay, so it's that compensation that you're using to calculate the contributions that the employees and the company, as applicable, are funding to the plan. We now are including columns on ownership percentage, and relationships of the owner, specific relationships. And so the instructions worksheet of the employee census template file includes how to do that. But we also have a little teeny YouTube video on just how to fill out these columns, okay? It's less than 5 minutes long, and it goes into detail on exactly how to fill out these columns. And we think that that would be very useful to you, so please go in and utilize that. Again, we do need Schedule C and Partnership K1s, excuse me, for those types of ownership. We realize that data is not available until later in the year. Go ahead and fill out the employee census and complete your year-end data collection project with everything to get it to NOVA. And then, we will know that we're still waiting on that Schedule C or K1. And then we'll put it on hold for just one of those data, whichever is applicable to the plan. We will continue, though, to send requests for that data. There'll be little reminders saying, hey, we're still waiting on Schedule C or K1. We still need those forms so that we can finalize the testing, because we cannot complete testing without this information, okay? When those items are available, the Schedule C or Partnership K1, please send it to your NOVA account manager using the Secure File Exchange tab within Plan Sponsor link, and I'll show you that on another screen here. If there is a draft copy available from their CPA, please send that ASAP. As soon as that's available, we can utilize that to work on the testing. Once the census file is complete, where you've entered in all the pertinent information for the employees for your plan, save that file on your computer, log back into the Plan Sponsor Link website, go back into the year-end data collection project, okay? It's still on that initial first page when you log in, and go to the Employees tab and click on Import, to upload that census from your computer, okay? So click on Import. It's going to ask you to browse to the saved file that you completed, and it will tell you if it was successful. It will also give you warnings, and it will also tell you if there are errors. The difference between a warning and an error. A warning is like those termination dates prior to the year that you're working on. That's just a warning. It'll still accept it. It'll still import that data. It's just putting it out there just to double check, make sure that that you entered the information correctly. An error means that it will not accept that data. There is something wrong, and it will not import the information, okay? And so it'll usually tell you what that error is, but if you just aren't sure, there's another way that you can get the census data to NOVA if you're having issues importing, because you keep getting an error, not just warnings. If you keep getting errors where it will not accept the import, you might get this pop-up if you try to hit save on the employee step. On step 9, you might get this pop-up where it says basically like, we need your information. are you sure you don't want to enter census data in this step? And you would click on skip this step so that you can just save it and move on. And then on the next screen, I'll show you how to send us the information. If you don't get this message, then that means it accepted what you imported in. You probably just had warnings, but not errors, okay? So, but you will get this if you try to skip the step totally, because it's not, it's giving you errors and it won't accept the import. So you would just say skip this step and save it. If at any time you're having issues importing the census template back into your year-end data collection project, okay, or let's say you already have a employee census file that your payroll provider provides to you in Excel format, as long as it has all the information that NOVA would need on your plan, you can just give us that file, that Excel file that your payroll provider gave to you or that you can run from their website directly, okay? Go to Secure File Exchange, and you can submit that file directly to your NOVA account manager, okay? So go to Secure File Exchange tab, click on New Exchange, find your file, your census file from your computer, find your NOVA account manager's name here. For message, put something like 2022 census, you know, something that says what it is. Select the plan that you're working on and hit send. What will happen is it's going to upload your census file and automatically send your NOVA account manager an email saying, hey, so-and-so uploaded this file for you. Your NOVA account manager will then log into our own login for Plan Sponsor Link and download that file. So it's a real good way. You don't even have to email your client, your NOVA account manager that you uploaded it, because we will automatically get an email from Plan Sponsor Link. It's really awesome. So that's how you can send us that census file if you are having issues importing it back into the system. We also ask you to use this tab when you're sending us any W-2, copies of W-2s, Schedule C, or Partnership K-1s, okay? Anything that has personal identification information on it, we do ask that you send it to your NOVA account manager through this Secure File Exchange. Once everything looks good and you have 9 green check marks for all the tasks, click on the Sign and Submit for the final approval step, fill in your information, hit Submit, and you are done. The project will no longer be on your My Active Task tab. It will then come to NOVA, and we will know that it is ready for us to do our part. Okay, so it'll no longer be on your main screen, and it will come to NOVA. What you can do, though, is you can go to this data collection tab and download a copy of what you just completed so that you can have it in your files, okay? So anytime for every year that you've filled out this year-end data collection for NOVA, it will be in this data collection tab. So you would just click on Report. It'll give you an Excel file with different worksheets of each task, and you can save it to your computer for your report. You can also go in and look at what was completed in the prior year to see, you know, how things were answered, what data you provided for the employees census worksheet. So you would just click on prior year 2021, click on report, download it, save it, and then you can go and look at how everything was completed in the prior year to help you with assisting yourself on completing it for this year. So that's a really good thing to utilize. If you want help filling out the census file for NOVA, and you have an online payroll provider, there is a sister company of NOVA called AFS 316, and they can do this for you for a fee of $300, okay? So basically what would happen is you have to have an online payroll provider so that you can give AFS read-only access with their own login. Read-only, they will not be able to make any changes or edits to anything in your payroll system. They will literally only be able to download reports to get the information that NOVA needs. And they will fill out our census template with that payroll provider information and submit it to NOVA through Plan Sponsor Link for us to utilize, okay? So they'll do that step for you. You would just have to get them set up with your payroll provider for that online read-only access. So if you are interested in this, please contact AFS 316 with Jacob Holzniak at this email address, and he can get you started with that process. Some frequently asked questions. Why do I have to submit a census if I'm a safe harbor plan? Well, because we still need that information to complete the governmental filing forms required for retirement plans. The safe harbor plans are still subject to deferral limits, so we still have to do that test to make sure no one exceeded the annual deferral limits. And if you do want any additional employer contributions calculated, we need that census information. If you have two divisions where you have their payroll information on an Excel file already, but it's two different files, how do you import that into Plan Sponsor Link? Well, you can't do the import within the employee task step unless you combine those two divisions into one file on our census template version. But if you don't want to do that, totally understandable. Just send both payroll files through the Secure File Exchange tab to your account manager, okay? You cannot, if you have the two divisions onto Nova's census template, it cannot be imported separately. If you import one and then import the second one will override everything you just imported. So you would have to combine it into one to be able to import it directly in. But if you don't want to combine it into one, you want to keep them separate, just send it to your Nova account manager that way. If the task does not apply to your plan, any of the tasks, then simply click Save and move on to the next step. If you're trying to import that census template file back into the Plan Sponsor Link year-end data collection and it won't import, it keeps giving you errors, there most likely might be one of these characters in the file, in the employee's worksheet file that you entered. It can't have any of those characters. Maybe you accidentally changed the formatting of the file. You deleted one of the worksheets from the file. It has to have both. So look into those things, and if it still persists where it won't let you import, then simply use that Secure File Exchange tab to send it to your account manager. And if you do get an error message that says no worksheet with specified name, it's because the worksheet name was changed from employees to something else or instructions to something else. So make sure you do not change those names, okay? If you do have any questions, please email at census@nova401k.com and we will respond to you or forward that to your Nova account manager and they can assist you. And as always, Nova offers free webinars to our clients throughout the entire year. Please go to this link to see which webinars are upcoming and keep an eye out for future webinars. Thank you. I hope this was very helpful to you and I hope you have a great day.